Welcome to the second episode of Marbella Championship podcast. Today we have Rob Green on the show, ex-Premier League football player. Would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you, Rob. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, I've been helping with the championships for a couple of years now. Really enjoyed my time. Previously, spent pretty much all my life playing football in various places. Started off my career in Norwich, moved into West Ham and QPR, and then other clubs, and finishing up at Chelsea, and then moving out here to Spain in semi-retirement, shall we say, and meeting the guys here and getting involved and not looking back since then. So it's been a good couple of years.
Yeah, and how would you say Marbella Championships differ to a football event?
It's really interesting in watching how the athletes get involved, how you get involved with the athletes, and within the footballing world, because you have such an exclusive group that there's 50,000-60,000 people watching, and only 22 of you on the pitch, and your roles are all different. Your understandings of your roles and each other's roles are very, very different. But you've also got the team ethic. You come to a championship like the Marbella Championships, and everyone's pretty much all in the same boat. Everyone's doing the same thing. You all understand. So you go from this position of sort of exclusivity or toughness from the crowd to everybody's in it. If you're judging, you've probably been doing it yourself. If you're in it, then you're one of hundreds of people doing it. So there's a real camaraderie in there. There's a different feel to it in some respects. But in the same respect, there's kind of an understanding, a mutual agreement in there that you know how it works and you know how it is. So it's been interesting to watch. And you watch the guys. What I found really interesting was how, so far, is watching the top guys, how they function, how they operate, how the teams within the elite categories operate. And there's not so much, it's obviously there's a passion from the guys, from the athletes wanting to compete, but there's very much a matter of factness to it. There's a professionalism to it that doesn't come maybe from the other categories, where the nervous tension, the unknown of how you're going to do it. The guys who do it, so the elite level, will sit there and say, right, I've got to set to 5-7, or I'm good at this, so I'm not good at that, so I'll give myself more time. And it feels a lot calmer.
Yeah.
And you play at the top level of football, and you stand there and say, well, he's desperate to get into this position or do this or be able to do that, because then he can do that. And your understanding of that goes, well, yeah, of course, that's his strengths. That's where the team, the whole tactics are just trying to get that person. And if that person does that, then there's kind of nothing anyone can do. So it's kind of like, say, if someone's super strength is, they're really, really strong at handstand press or whatever, they'll say, well, I can go over a good. And they will.
Yeah, I guess you're having to change your tactics all the time in football, whereas in CrossFit you can plan the workout and decide your tactic beforehand.
There's very much that as well.
And not strive too far away from that.
Yeah, there's that. There's the element of you never quite know how it's going to go for yourself within an event, but with football there's an unscriptedness to it that is sort of it's really unmatchable in terms of live sport, and because there's so many moving parts.
Yes.
In a team event, you've got 4 of you, 3 of you, whatever. It's in a heat. Yes, there's elements of, but that one guy is maybe out of 3 or 4 of you that they're not so strong with something, so you might have to wait a bit for them.
Yeah.
And we got to take them. So, but within football, you sat there thinking, anything could happen at any moment.
Yeah, quite literally. So how do you feel that your experience in football has prepared you to be a judge in the Marbella Championships?
Being a judge is, there's a pressure to it, but what you can do is kind of eliminate so much around you find sole focus, whether it's in the reps, judging a movement, or communicating with the team, or whatever it might be. You have, only so many things, but nothing else matters.
Yeah.
So in the championships last time, I was judging, I'm counting something, and the guys were filming around us, and there was someone within a yard of me filming, and I didn't see them once.
Because you're so tunnel
Because
vision.
the brilliant thing about in working in sport and working in football is the ability to eliminate millions of people or stimuli going on around you without it affecting you. And that training, people shouting, various things, but the slightest thing that changes, that affects you, that comes into your own, then that affects you. But so much can go on around you. So there's that in terms of, I think, becoming a judge and that sort of stuff really helps.
Yeah. So let's take it back and go to the beginning. How did you initially get involved with Marbella Championships? Where's the story there?
Yeah, through Rich. Rich is probably sort of press ganged a lot of people into volunteer, shall we say?
Marbella CrossFit.
Yes, yeah. So he's charismatic guy, friendly guy, needs to be.
Yeah.
Get people to come down and help out. And from being a guinea pig in the testing the events is one thing, is quite good. Testing the qualification process, testing at the sites, at the venues is another one. So when everyone else does it September, October time, we've been testing it in July and August in the blazing heat. So when people are moaning about the heat or how hard it is, we know. We already know.
Yeah. And as a judge, I think you can feel that you already know all the feelings that you go through throughout the workouts.
Yeah.
So you can judge just letting that feel just that little bit more.
Yeah. What I did learn about Rich is you don't let him go at the front of the worm when you're doing the team event because he can't count. So we'll be testing in the middle of the summer, and it was quite funny to watch. Well, it wasn't funny at the time because your lungs are burning and you don't. Just they go, right, we're going to start, and we'll start on 3, and he doesn't even get to 3. He started. He started. So so from there we've it's been really good fun to get involved. The weekends are logistical feat in terms of getting everybody to places and equipment to places. To help out in that way is something that we find is vital, really. So we kind of go from there.
So you initially started out as a demo tester, and then you developed your role as a judge. Is that so?
I think it's the demo test is kind of a good one to do, because realistically, that's one of the key bits is if you get that to work, and I think Rich and Sam appreciate that if those are critical, because if they run within an event, then you kind of really, the whole day goes.
The schedules.
Yeah, everything around it is bouncing off the timings. It's got to be a challenge and doable, but to people who can do it. And if you can't do it, then you're going to suffer. And so it's finding that balance. And unfortunately, I've been one of the people who found out.
Yeah, I think it's really cool though, because you get to change the workouts if something doesn't work. What challenges did you face when you've been testing these workouts and think, oh, actually, we need to change this because this doesn't function?
Yeah, I think in the qualification, you want to establish people's obviously abilities and to get them in the right category or to find out where where they are with things. But just to know that a slight change in weight in an event, in a heat, in anything, can really affect the whole thing, because it might be a set of pull-ups or chest to bars or muscle ups with thrusters or snatch in there or something like that. But if it's too heavy, guys in the gym who are maybe not elite or maybe at the RX level, but are going to die. And you end up doing, right, okay, well, it's going to be how many snatches you can do at 50 or 60 kilos or whatever it might be, rather than, okay, well, we do want to do it, they'll drop it down to 40. So it's just playing with the weights, playing with the numbers, playing with that sort of thing, I think has been, you come up with an idea, Rich will come up with an idea, and from there, you sort of take it to where you might be, what heat level the guys are going to be at and how they're going to compete.
And with you mainly demoing the technical team for elite and masters categories, how do you determine that this is an elite workout, not a scaled, not a... Yeah,
it's, I think with other guys doing it as well, watching the other guys, the weights that are involved, that basically it's such a difficult balance in there that you want to, if you're watching an elite guy do a demo and he's dying, you know that it's too much. But then, do you want it to be a sprint or do you want it to be a grind?
A burner,
So I think there's a myriad of different things you might want, because you might have another heat which is a bit of a grind, a bit of a burner, whatever it might be, and you want this one to be a sprint, but then the weight's 5 kilos too much on a bar, or the dumbbells 2 kilos too heavy. It's a really, well, you're doing 5 reps too many. We've toyed with so many things in there that it's just tweaked it, just not by much, that you think, well, that's not really going to make a difference, and then all of a sudden you go in. A set of snatches, 21, 15, 9 snatches unbroken, and you're thinking, well, that's it's interesting to tweak.
And how many people are there all testing, demoing the elites?
I mean, within the team, there's as many as we can get. There's sort of 4 or 5, but the elites is there's 1 or 2 guys, and then from there there's 3 or 4 of us from there that come down, and it's to watch Gabby and the elite do his, and that's just watching a different sport. You go into that and then you realize what that entails and how much core strength there is involved in just shifting the weight, shifting yourself, and the speed, and also, like I said, the management of yourself within that time is really interesting.
So do you have any disagreements then after you've done the WOD and someone thinks it's scaled and someone thinks it's elite? How do you solve those kind of issues between yourselves?
No.
How many disagreements?
Mainly the disagreements over Rich's counting. But I think there's just a general conversation that you have. I think recently we've been doing one for this year's that you're looking at with a snatch which I felt was too light, but then I watched someone else do the elite and they die, and you're like, well, wow, okay, I got that wrong. It's actually, so it's that experience and that realization that you can't go off just what you're feeling at that time, because the other guys, that step up is an even greater. It's not just the weight; it's the management within the WOD, within the workout, within the heat is huge.
So we'll move on from the demo, the technical, or the prep, and we'll fast forward to the competition. How is your role actually judging the workouts that you've helped demo and trialed?
It's really interesting to because you plan it all out, and you're in an area that you know really well, that you've been there, you've done it, you've been on it, and you know what to look out for. But every team has a little nuance within it, and this was the interesting part within the guys below the elite level and perhaps below the RX, particularly in the teams, is that you've got so many moving parts, and it's really challenging to judge that you're judging 4 people doing burpees over a work, and you've got 4 different moving parts. You've got to hit the deck at the same time. So there's all these challenges, but and also these guys have been doing it maybe 2-3 events that day, whatever it might be. They're not that.
Yeah.
And so you're right. Okay, I need to help you through this as well, because some of you, so you're shouting at them to say, right, okay, you got to be in time. You got to, I don't want to have to no rep you, but and the arguments that ensue between the teams as well, which is quite interesting as well. That you're looking at, guys. Again, you're looking at the elite guys who stand there and go, well, okay, we know person A is going to be the slowest, so we have to wait for them with the synchro toes to bar, whatever it might be. So that sort of thing is and your challenge of, I have to count in English and in Spanish. Yeah. Which is harder than it seems.
I can imagine. I mean, you've been here for a few years now, so
you should be able to. Yeah.
But when it's not your native language, I think it can be.
Under pressure is tricky, and they're demanding feedback. Tell us the time. Tell us how long we've got left. Oh, that's your problem. That's not my job. Yeah. My job's to count. It's there's all sorts that's kicking off at one moment. We had one point people going down with cramp within the team and screaming at us that 3 of the 4 wanted to carry on and leave him there. And I'm like, oh, it's synchronized. You can't. You can't have one person lying and arguing with me about having the guy lying on the floor. Treat him for his cramp.
How do you overcome that?
It's brutal at that sport. You can't. It's not my fault. He's on the floor. So pick yourself up and get you. That's what a team's about. You win together, you lose together. Exactly. It's tough. It's a tough process, and I mean, there's a whole bunch of other people competing at the same time, and if you let one person get away with one thing, then it's the whole thing falls apart. So it's tough. You've got to be fair, and I think you look at the elite guys, and there's a calmness to it. And with the teams as well, there's a real calmness in there that they don't want to expend energy on sort of external. They just get on with it, and it's streamlined, and it is literally synchronized. It's to the point, and within that becomes an ease for the judges.
Yeah, absolutely.
You sit there and say, well, everyone knows what they're doing here, and it makes it that bit easier. So you go from the chaos of the earlier heats and the people to the teams and the individuals of the elite level, and it feels very, very not still, but very, very, very smooth.
Yeah, and I guess that comes with experience. As you start to move up with the ranks of CrossFit, you have more experience, you know what not to waste your energy on. So I get the vibe that you prefer to judge the elites than the scale categories. What would you say?
Yeah, I think they know as well. They know that they're when they've done a bad rep, the toes are in front of the bar or that sort of thing. You go, no rep.
Too bad.
Yeah, I kind of felt that.
Yeah.
So their recognition within the body is such that, and also, again, you go back to you want to be judged how you want everyone else to be judged.
Exactly.
And they get one wrong like that, and you say, oh, That's no good. They go, right. And the teams are interesting as well, because the elite teams will turn around and go, you'll say, right, that's no rep, synchronized over bars. They were right, who's out? And immediately look to you, we haven't got time to get this wrong.
Yeah.
Let's just get this right now, rather than arguing with me. Say, oh, it was close.
Yeah.
Close isn't right. Yeah, it comes with its challenges.
What kind of judge would you say that you are? Are you a strict judge? Are you a kind judge? How would you
matter
describe?
of fact, yeah, unemotional.
Yeah.
I don't think there's not time to be emotional. There's not time, and I think you look at it and think, what if you're in an event and you're flailing around on the floor or hanging on a bar on some rings, and what you don't need is something flapping around in front of you.
Yeah.
You as a competitor, you don't want that movement, that distraction, or whatever it might be. You just focus on your thing. You've got enough problems as it is. That was my always when I played. I was there's enough moving parts in my own team.
Yeah.
To let have to worry about what's going on with the opposition. So if they're doing something wrong or whatever it might be, or the refs having a bad game, let them have their day, and I'll focus on me. So it's that's I think to bring a sense of calmness within so much noise and the music, the waves crashing down, people, movement and stuff like that is a good element to bring.
Absolutely. And how do you feel mentally after a day of judging?
A day it is a day as well. It's
long.
Day and night, and So I think there's some moments where it's obviously blessed as an area where you have the mountains and the sea and the venues in between, where you can be judging in an evening, and it sort of gets dusk, and you've got purple skies and beautiful scenery, and you're looking over the mountains. You think this is you can't compete with this. This is just stunning. And it's amazing. It's incredible, and that sort of stuff. You're doing something that's really great fun and a sport that you love, and you're doing it in beautiful weather and an amazing scenery. What more could you want? And other times you sat there thinking, well, I started at 6 this morning. It's now 11 at night. I'm not going to
and do it all again tomorrow.
Yeah, and we start again in the morning. But yeah, there's moments where it's frenetic, it's chaotic, and there's like I said, a lot of moving parts logistically that really do challenge the guys and everybody involved, and it's a real team effort. You've got to pull everyone together and drag it through for the weekend.
Absolutely. So, what do you think the most special thing about Marbella Championship is for you?
I think having done competitions before, that you sort of under one roof for a day, whether it's a sporting venue, a gym, a local gym, or an event hall. You do those. It's great, everything, but to come, like you said, to somewhere where you're in the mountains 1 minute, you're down in the sea the next minute, you're in a stadium the next minute. That's unparalleled. I think that's kind of special, and there's judges as well that you kind of there going, well, it's you driving around the town where you live.
Going to
all on the doorstep. The kid, it's the amount of people say, "Oh, it's the place to live, it's the place to be, it's the place to, it's also the place to have an event, because you've got everything rolled into one there, and to have it over a weekend is it beats being at a sports hall in the Midlands somewhere on a Saturday all day.
In
my opinion.
Compared to Yorkshire.
Yeah, in my humble opinion, yes.
Yeah. So if for the people that are listening, if you're competing again this year, you might be lucky enough to get judged by Rob, because you are judging again this year.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough. Maybe. Yes, it's
unlucky.
Yeah.
Depends. Depends on your mood.
Yeah, it depends what time of day it is and whether it's warm enough. But
Yeah.
no, it'll be great fun, and I think every year it's got stronger and stronger, and obviously championships are looking to do the same this year.
What are you looking forward to the most this year for the Marbella Championship this season?
I'm really interested to see on the same thing, to see the elite guys and girls and where they're going and who's involved. It's just inspirational and demoralizing at the same time.
Yeah.
Because you realise you're so far at what it takes and how far away you are from it.
Oh.
Yeah. But it's not. But that's what you want. That's what I've always done. You study the best.
Mm-hmm.
You learn from the best. You learn what it takes to be the best, the mentality, the physicality about it, and you see those guys, and you realise that's where it is. That's how good they are, and why they are where they are. And
yeah,
that's the fascinating thing.
Absolutely. And have you got any funny stories from your experience with the Marbella Championships? It can be from judging to being with the team to demoing.
That's been one of the teams I judged in the elite. That they're an English team, and at the end, sort of watching this team, sort of obviously captain, judging,
yeah,
and two guys, two girls, and at the end they came up and said thanks very much, and one of them turned to me and went, "So, do you remember 15 years ago playing for West Ham?" And I was like, yeah. Okay, yeah. He said, "I used to play with you."
Oh, that's free.
yeah. No, it's Sam, one of them. So obviously, as a goalkeeper, we had a goalkeepers union where you all trained together, and Sam was one of the younger goalkeepers. From he was in the youth team when I was playing in the first team, and so thankfully for Sam, there's over a 10-year age gap between us. But he was one of the guys that came over and was in the teams and had a career in football, and then went into running the gym and being part of coming to events like the Marbella Championship. And from that point on, he's I was kept an eye out on the team, and they did really well. But it's amazing who you bump into when you're judging CrossFit competitions.
Have you bumped into anybody else that's been quite interesting to speak to on your judging journey?
I think everyone's got a story. I think it's a lot easier to speak to the English people or the Brits, inevitably. And I think that's always quite interesting to watch the guys who come over and how much the whole event and how they're getting involved and how they're moving along with it and how they're enjoying it. Basically, it's been really interesting as an event, because it's unlike anything.
Yeah.
So those guys are always good fun to judge and be involved, and where they're from and where teams from all over Europe coming in. So it's really inclusive and brilliant environment to be involved in.
Yeah, there's people that come from all over to the championship. How have you found the language barrier side of things when you're having to communicate with Spanish athletes?
Yes, there is. I think you have the sort of commonality, the international language of I'm not going to start doing the exercises for them, but they know if they jig the ground, the chest isn't hit the ground on a burpee, or they've got to get the toes to the bar. That's the thing. I think it's tough, but it's not as hard to get across what you want, because there's only so many things you can say.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's fine, but it's more so when the music's going in the boring and stuff crashing around you, and they're asking questions during the middle whilst they're trying to work out. So you're thinking, I'm not sure now's the time.
But I guess that is the beauty of CrossFit, though. It's the universal language that everybody can understand.
Yep. I think that's the overriding thing, that you brought together by something, and I think that really works in that regard.
And do you feel the sense of community when you're judging for the events?
I think there's different communities in there, and I think you've got different. You've got a team of judges, you've got the team of athletes, you've got the people watching, you've got everyone involved, and but within it all, you've got one big community. So it's a really interesting weekend in terms of trying to finding that commonality, finding whether you're from the guys from Slovakia, or the guys are from Wales, or the guys are from down the road here, or northern Spain, or wherever it might be. There's always some form, and it's interesting. Over years I've had guys from America, from northern Sweden, that sort of stuff. So it's from all over.
Yeah, it's definitely a varied role that you have here in the championship.
Yeah, it's great fun.
Final question, have you started demoing already some of the WODs?
Yeah, we've done more than enough already. We've done the WODs for the qualifiers. So they're there to be polished off and finalized, and that was interesting to do. And then
obviously we can't give too much away, but we can give just a little teaser of maybe what's to be expected with the WODs coming up. In difficulty, or
bring your arms and lungs. I think it's some, and I think it's challenging for everyone. I think as I touched on watching Gabby do the elites. I mean, he's one of the best I've seen, and if he's dying on it, then there's going to be a real challenge for a lot of people. So it's there's some blast in there. There's some good blasts and short, sharp ones that you can really go for. So it'll be interesting to see what scores come back and how people have done, and then I'm sure Rich has got his brain in gear for the actual championships himself, and dreading bringing out the worm again and standing behind him and trying to copy his lead.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That concludes episode 2 of Marbella Championship, the podcast. Thank you for spending your Sunday morning here with us. Appreciate your time. And for the listeners, there you are. Bring your arms and lungs for the online qualifiers. And don't forget to share the podcast, like, subscribe, and let us know what you think of it, and what you'd like to see on the podcast. Okay, lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.